Breaking news! Something's not right in the Baltimore Ravens locker room. It's not just the missed tackles, the poorly executed routes, or the incomplete passes. No, the problem runs deeper, beneath the surface of the field, behind the press conferences and inside the meetings the cameras can't see. The whispers are turning into frustrations. The frustrations are turning into cracks. And if what we're hearing is true, it could explain everything that's gone wrong with the Ravens offense lately. But before we continue, click the like button if you've been a Baltimore Ravens fan for more than 20 years. It's great to see fans of all ages. There are people here who were at the first game. If possible, comment like this: "Go Ravens." Okay, let's get straight to the point. The Ravens, once seen as one of the most explosive and dangerous offenses in the league, are suddenly unrecognizable. With Lamar Jackson healthy again, expectations were sky high for a surge in offensive production. But instead, fans have been left scratching their heads, watching the offense sputter, stall, and collapse. The lack of scoring, the inability to sustain drives, turnovers piling up. But this isn't just about stats, it's about identity, or more accurately, the lack of it. Ronnie Stanley, one of the Ravens' most respected voices, didn't mince words. In a post-game interview, he essentially called out the coaching staff for abandoning the run game. He stressed that the team must commit to the ground game, that it should be the Ravens' identity. And he wasn't alone in that sentiment. The players know their personnel. They know what works. And more importantly, they know when it's not being respected. Take Derrick Henry, for example. He rushed for a touchdown early in the game against Cincinnati. Momentum was there. Energy was there. And then, nothing. Just 2 touches the rest of the half. It's baffling. It's frustrating. And it signals a growing disconnect between the coaching staff and the locker room. Ronnie Stanley even admitted that players are encouraging coaches mid-game to return to the run. That's collaboration, yes, but it's also desperation. And when your star left tackle is openly questioning the decision-making structure, that's a red flag that can't be ignored. The friction appears to run through the entire offensive operation. Todd Monken, once heralded as a massive upgrade from Greg Roman, is now under fire. His play calling is being questioned not just by fans but by players. And that's where things get dangerous, because it doesn't just affect strategy. It affects trust. Lamar Jackson, despite his MVP pedigree, has looked off. Part of it is on him, missed throws, questionable decisions, but part of it is undoubtedly the chaos around him. Bad protection from a shaky offensive line. Inconsistent play calling that abandons what's working. Receivers dropping passes or fumbling at key moments. It's all compounding. And then there's the comment from Derrick Henry after the Bengals game. He didn't rant. He didn't call anyone out. But the restraint in his words said everything. There's clearly something going on behind the scenes. And when your top offensive leaders start sounding like frustrated bystanders, the writing's on the wall. Fans have noticed it, too. And they're tired. Tired of the déjà vu, tired of watching the same mistakes unfold week after week. Tired of watching a team with so much talent underachieve. As one fan put it, this isn't just about bad games, it's about bad habits that keep resurfacing every time the Ravens are tested. And when you look deeper into the roster construction, the questions grow louder. Why are players like Keaton Mitchell getting barely any touches after explosive performances? Why is the offensive line still an issue after years of investment? And why, in a season with this much at stake, does it feel like leadership is asleep at the wheel? Some are even pointing fingers higher up, at John Harbaugh. The criticism? That he refuses to adapt. That he throws coordinators under the bus while shielding underperforming staff. That he's loyal to a fault. And that his inability to evolve might be stunting this team's championship potential. And the bigger fear? That all of this dysfunction might push Lamar Jackson to his breaking point. He's kept quiet. He's been the good soldier. But if the Ravens continue to waste his prime, don't be surprised if frustration turns into disillusionment. The Ravens are now at a critical crossroads. Their 10-day break before facing Pittsburgh couldn't have come at a better time. But it also couldn't be more important. Because if this team doesn't reset, if they don't fix the internal fractures, it won't matter how talented they are. They'll implode when it matters most. The signs have been there for weeks, maybe longer, but now they're impossible to ignore. This isn't just a slump. This is structural instability, and it could jeopardize the Ravens' entire season. Let's talk about the offensive line. Because while Lamar Jackson is under fire for his recent struggles, how much of that blame really belongs to him? You've got an O-line that's been more liability than asset. Pressure is getting home far too quickly, the run lanes are inconsistent, and communication breakdowns are leading to penalties and blown assignments. Yet somehow, the coaching staff keeps rolling out the same personnel. Daniel Falale was even booed by Ravens fans during intros. Harsh? Maybe. But it reflects something deeper, a fan base that's fed up with seeing the same underperformers week after week with no changes made. And then there's the curious case of Emory Jones. He finally gets some action after a holding call but still looked solid. So why isn't he playing more? It comes back to what many fans are calling coaching malpractice. Sticking with what isn't working. Refusing to make bold moves or even basic ones to fix obvious issues. Meanwhile, players like Ronnie Stanley and Derrick Henry are publicly expressing frustration, not in an unprofessional way, but in a way that feels like a cry for help. Even Todd Monken, once seen as the spark that would elevate Lamar and unlock the full potential of this offense, is now the center of questions about leadership and collaboration. There's speculation from fans that Monken may even be checked out. That's a massive claim, but if you consider his offensive game plans, his refusal to stick with what's working, and the lack of adaptability, it's a theory that doesn't sound so far-fetched anymore. And this isn't just about one bad game against the Bengals. It's been brewing. The offense struggled against the Browns, the Vikings, even the Jets. The defense has bailed them out time and time again, but that won't work forever, especially when the offense can't maintain time of possession, can't protect its quarterback, and can't find a consistent rhythm. And we haven't even gotten into the usage, or lack thereof, of this team's weapons. You have Zay Flowers dropping a perfect pass one drive, then scoring a touchdown the next, only to go ghost the rest of the game. You've got Isaiah likely fumbling near the goal line. Keaton Mitchell getting just 2 carries, *2*, despite breaking big plays the week before. And somehow Rashad Bateman and Odell Beckham Jr. barely factor in at all. This team has too many weapons to be this predictable. Even Lamar's mental state is under the microscope. We saw it, the helmet slam against Cincinnati. The look of pure frustration on his face. He's pressing, overthrowing Mark Andrews, missing open reads, holding onto the ball too long. But can you blame him? He's playing behind a line that can't protect him, executing a scheme that doesn't seem to trust what's actually working. And let's not ignore the fans' biggest fear, that all of this dysfunction, all of this inconsistency, could eventually push Lamar Jackson away. That if the front office and coaching staff don't start building around their franchise quarterback, he might decide he's better off somewhere else. And it's not just the offensive issues. Even the Ravens' identity as a team is in question. Are they a ground and pound team built on dominance in the trenches? Are they an air-it-out squad leaning on Lamar's arm and improvisation? Right now, they're neither. They're a chameleon, sometimes scary good, other times completely lost. One week they look like Super Bowl contenders, the next they look like they're stuck in a rebuild. The coaching staff, especially John Harbaugh, is also facing mounting scrutiny. Many fans feel he's lost the pulse of the team, that he's protecting staff out of loyalty, not merit. And when asked about the offensive woes, his answers often feel vague and dismissive. There's no sense of urgency, no admission of accountability, and fans are starting to feel like they're the only ones who care. And it's not just fans anymore. Former players, media voices, even national outlets have started calling out the Ravens' leadership. And the most concerning part? The organization's response has been silence. But maybe the biggest indictment came from the Bengals game, because in that moment, the Ravens had a real opportunity. The Bengals were vulnerable. The Ravens' defense showed up. Nate Wiggins was out in the second half, sure, but they were still holding it down. The offense had opportunities. They had momentum. And yet, the coaching staff once again abandoned the run, mismanaged the clock, and failed to adjust. That game